If you found this video enjoyable, please leave a like and hell, even subscribe if you want to. It only takes 2 clicks, and push that notification bell just to get the messages for my videos. That would be greatly appreciated. So of course you have probably read the title of this video, and it's been quite a bit since the chapter release of Jojolion 108, and I finally think I got my ideas straight enough to talk about this topic. If you have read the title, this is going to be a discussion about the ending of Jojolion and just kind of how the series is wrapping itself up, and I feel like a lot of people just kind of don't realize that as of yet, and the implications it means going on forward with the franchise and the series overall. Of course, this video is going to contain spoilers of many kinds for the entire franchise and even the series in general, so if you're, for whatever reason, not caught up with Jojolion, go do so, because it's a really good part, but I'm about to spoil this part like heavy, so FYI. So I'm going to talk about first is Jojolion ending, because I feel like a lot of people just say no, Jojolion's not ending because of X, Y, and Z, and I feel like I need to discuss this topic first because it's probably the biggest thing I have to kind of break down for people so I can actually talk about like the ending, I guess, or like what's going to come up. So first off is this current chapter. If you have read 108, it is extremely fast paced, and I mean extremely fast paced. Like, I thought previous chapters were pretty fast paced, but no, 108 ridiculously goes by extremely fast. Like, the dialogue is almost kind of pinpoint accurate to what kind of Araki wants and doesn't have a lot of fluff to it. And of course there was a narration dialogue that was wrapping up or almost giving us kind of the plot summary of Jojolion, which is really odd, and we do not get to see that very often in this series whatsoever from a narrator. In this latest arc, we have been introduced to Toru, a very, very powerful stand user, of course being the stand user to Wonderview, a ridiculously powerful stand that I will cover eventually, going in more detail and power scaling him eventually later on in the channel's history. But back to what I was saying is that Toru is a ridiculously powerful stand user that has massive amounts of potential and is of course died as of recently, of course being defeated by Josuke and his power up. And in the franchise we do see this a lot. A villain shows up that is incredibly powerful, ridiculously overpowered, and is really just reality warping almost in a sense, and of course our protagonist has defeated them. And of course in earlier parts we have been shown this a hell of a lot. One of the biggest examples being Jotaro versus Dio, Johnny versus Valentine, Kira versus Josuke. A lot. It's been shown often. This is a recurring theme Araki likes to do, a super overpowered villain versus a powered up hero. And since that has been kind of concluded, then we have entered kind of the almost end game of it all. But I know a lot of people are going to say no to that due to part 7 and how this new universe is kind of structured and how Araki likes to write now. But even if then, I'm going to prove some points here that I feel like a lot of people just kind of blow off almost in a sense, because they feel like there's has to be more. There has to, you know, keep on going for whatever reason. Like people have this reason that Jojolion is going to last forever, which it of course is not. That's just really dumb, and I don't know why a lot of people think like that, surprisingly. So with the main kind of big fight out of the way in Jojolion, there's only a few things that honestly truly remain in this part, that being of course Holly, the Wall-Eyes, and a few others that I will go in depth on, being the last remaining things. And I feel like, I don't know why people feel like this, is that somehow all these plot points are going to get covered for whatever reason, X, Y, and Z, etc, etc, or that some of these plot lines and plot threads are somehow going to make Jojolion like 200 chapters longer for whatever reason, which is just ludicrous for many reasons. So I am going to discuss some of these remaining plot points in this story very briefly. I'm not going to go too in depth in them, except for maybe like one of them, but other than that, some of these plot points are very minor and niche that can probably get covered in a chapter or two. First being Holly. Of course this one is probably going to get resolved. This has been the main plot point, or actually one of the main subplot points for the entire series. Of course, this is Josuke's current motivation to save his mother, because he knows who he is. He is the split body of Josefumi Kujo and of Kira, so you know he has a sense of responsibility to save her life because he is half Kira. Of course this plotline is going to get covered. I actually, to be totally honest, I would expect this plotline to be solved or at least touched upon on next chapter, so next month if this video is released before that chapter. The mysterious memory man. Okay, so this is where I'm gonna rant a little bit. This is where I'm gonna go a little bit off here. This does not matter at all, like whatsoever. This plot point, for whatever reason, has bugged people, and I'm gonna be real. This is Meta's honest to God take. It is a drop plot point. There, I said it. I said it, bro. I really did. Araki has not mentioned Josuke's memory or the idea of Josuke's memory for a very long time, an extremely long time. Josuke honestly doesn't care about his memories. He more cares about like who he is as a person now, ever since the fusion. That's what he honestly cares about. For whatever reason, people want to find out about this mystery for whatever reason, but you have to remember, Jojolion is a series that has lasted over 10 plus years, if I remember correctly. If it happened in 2011 and of course keep on moving forward, it's 2021 now, which is a long span of time. That is a ridiculously long span of time for one story. Of course, plot lines and thoughts are going to change over this time span. So of course, a plot line in the very, very, very early stages of this story are going to change. I know a lot of people say he's maybe an early version of a rock human, or he is somehow a future premonition of a character we have yet to see, which is ridiculous and has no way of showing up in the story that makes a logical amount of sense, because time travel literally has not been brought up yet, unless how Josuke spins involved, which would not make any sense whatsoever. This mysterious man just doesn't matter at all. I'll be real with you. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on that, but like, this has not been brought up. A memory sequence like this has not been brought up again whatsoever. It has just been flashbacks that Josuke doesn't even remember about. It's just dumb. This is a really dumb plot point. A lot of people want to somehow figure out. This plot point will probably never be brought up again whatsoever. And that also goes for the baby sequence too. There's also a baby that gets brought up in Yasuho's like Twin Peaks arc, where she tries to find out stuff about Tsurugi. That probably won't get answered too, I'll be honest. That probably just got involved with Johnny somehow, because you know the corpse parts, they have miracle based powers. So you know, a baby being pure, and a lot of religions saying that babies cannot commit sin because they are children. That kind of idea is most likely why the child got saved, probably by the corpse parts. That's just heavy theory there, but just FYI. Yeah, but overall, these two plot points probably will never get touched again, just because Araki has yet to mention this whatsoever. And if for whatever reason these actually do get brought up again, I will eat my words on God. Of course, the next one being the publisher mark or icon, if you want to call it like that. For some reason, people think this is important too. I've always found it logical to explain that Kira started marking these down in the house to give help to his sister, of course, to find stuff out so she could sneak her way into the Higashikata household. That's what I've always logically found out to be the best idea towards this. I don't really know how it could serve in the plot somehow, unless it's somehow connected to part 9, but that's an entirely different discussion for the end of this video. But yeah, this one's weird. I don't know why people feel like this one's relevant. There's some easy head canon logic you can use to solve this plot point that I don't think Araki really needs to spend time really discussing this in any manner or any way. So the next plot point that is left is Kareta. Of course, she in earlier chapters wanted the fruit from Josuke, as she kind of subtly hinted towards it. This one of course can probably show up randomly, as we have been shown that previous characters have came back into the fold and have done some, I would say, major things, but of course have died, because Araki is trying to wrap up the plot, because of course, when an author starts killing off characters in rapid succession that kind of maybe have some plot relevance, it really means they either A, don't want to care about them anymore, or are trying to wrap things up so they can end it. And if she were to show up, I feel like this would be the same consequence, unless it somehow involves Josuke, of course, and there actually is a bigger, deeper meaning into it. I feel like it is going to be brought up, but it's probably going to be very short and minor. I don't think it's going to be, very long lasting if it is brought back, of course, but I personally don't feel like it is, but it could happen, maybe. And finally, the walleyes. Now, I'm going to give maybe a controversial take here. I don't think this is ever going to get solved, because it's the main reason why Morio in this universe is a wacky, noisy, crazy, bizarre town. It actually fits a lot. Not answering this would actually be pretty cool and always leave an air of mystery of Morio in the Part 8 universe. I know a lot of people aren't going to like the idea of the walleyes never being explained, but you also have to remember the stand area arrow is kind of the reason why back in part 4 that Moria was kind of a wacky, noisy, bizarre town, and the arrows weren't even explained in that part for whatever reason, and were kind of just barely hinted at because of Dio. In this part, you can almost say it's actually almost the same. The walleyes exist because of maybe the corpse parts, maybe, and you can just leave it at that, and it worked totally fine. I don't think there's anything major with the walleyes here. I think they're just a really weird phenomenon that exists in the Steel Ball Run universe, which is pretty cool. And I feel like it should be left unsolved, just personally speaking. But of course, it could be unsolved in a, Holly focused chapter or a Carrera focused chapter. It really could honestly be placed into any chapter or any plot point, like an handed comment, and it would be solved. And I feel like a lot of people would be okay with that, but for some reason, people overhype certain factors in this part for whatever reason, because humans are dumb. And that is all the remaining plot points in this story. There isn't very much left, and I feel like that is kind of what leads into the discussion of this story is ending. There is so little left in this story to really honestly cover and probably extend this series lifespan a little bit onward to really say we have reached the end game. We have reached the ending part of Jojolion. It's kind of a surreal fact to really understand, and this is coming from the heart that part 8 has lasted almost 10 years. Actually 10 years, and is coming to an end. There is very little remaining left. The plot seems to be wrapping up. Characters that would have mattered are dead now. Characters have reached their finale and reached their peak. There is very little to add or explore after this. It is coming to a conclusion, and I feel like that is kind of sad in a way, and I feel like not a lot of people realize that as of now. I think some people do, but probably going to be a hard-hitting fact for a lot of people that this is time for this part to end, which is kind of surreal in a way. But leading into kind of the big idea of this kind of video, which I kind of want to heavily talk about, is of course the future of the franchise after part 8. Of course, that being part 9. Is there going to be a next part? Araki is, I think, 64 this year. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'll put an edit thing up on screen if I am. But Araki's old, but I don't think he's old enough yet. I think he's taken care of his health well enough to actually lead into another part. And of course, that is his decision to honestly make. It's all upon him. From this point onward, there is a sense of mystery in the air for what is remaining for the franchise, should I say, not for the series, because it's all up to Araki. Araki's old. He's been doing this for a very, very long time. 8 parts. That is ridiculous. I think the series almost has 1,000 chapters, if I remember correctly. This is a long running franchise. 8 parts. That's a ridiculous number for a manga series. It's huge. And for Araki to make another part after part 8 would be astronomical. It would be a feat unlike any other. It would be crazy. I don't think a lot of people realize the ending of Jojolion means a lot for this franchise. A lot of mysteriousness for this franchise, because there's this idea that anything could happen. It is all in Araki's ballpark after this part ends. And that's just a fact that I feel like not a lot of people realize or get. Even I don't. I feel like even as of right now, as I'm recording this, I feel like I'm dumbing it down to such a small degree for you guys to understand that it's all in Araki. It is all his will and determination to do this. It is all him. And if we do get a part 9, hell yeah, I'm so down for that. But of course, that's all up to him. And since we haven't got any actually an official news source saying that part 8 is ending, or an official source saying that part 9 is coming, it is all in Araki's ball court. This is all him. He can extend the plot. He can do so on and so forth with any character he wants or any plot point, or keep on adding to this part. It's all up to him. But with previous examples and previous parts, and how there is very little plot lines left in this initial part, it seems like part 8 is coming to a close, and there is going to be a lot left said at the very end for a lot of things. Possibly a part 9, possibly the end of the series. It's kind of scary, honestly, to see that maybe JoJo is ending entirely, not Jojolion, but the series. But who knows? It's up to the man, and it's up to him alone. Well, that is going to be the end of the video. Like, comment, share, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, stay hydrated. See you in the next one, ladies and gentlemen.